Thank you, Donna, and thank you, ladies. It's a real pleasure to be here speaking with you today. So as Donna said, I am a energy release and mindful practitioner and fulfillment coach. So I support women on their journey home back to the woman within, to reawaken their spirituality and their faith, so that they can lead a life of soul-centered joy, love, peace, and fulfillment in all that they do. So we do have everything inside of us that we need to do that when we're born. But as we grow, we become disconnected, or many of us become disconnected with that. Our soul gets buried under the expectations and attitudes of the life that we live. And so when we become disconnected with our soul, we begin to be disconnected with that inner divine, that inner guidance. We become disconnected with our purpose. We start to become unfulfilled. And this happens over many, many years. And some people are really fortunate that they remember that early on. But for many, many women, myself was one of them, I didn't. And I went 30 odd years just going through life, one thing after the other. And it was a good life, it had its ups and it had its downs. But I lost that connection with my soul. So every time something came to challenge me, I just dusted myself off, got back up and carried on. And because I wasn't listening to my soul, I wasn't nourishing my soul, I wasn't nourishing my inner being, my inner essence. So it's a compound effect. The more you do that, each time you just get up, dust yourself off and carry on, there's a little bit more of your soul that gets buried. So eventually, when something big happens, and usually in life, everyone has a crisis at some point, you have nothing left. You have nothing to fight that with. You're running on empty. You're running, feeling deflated, unfulfilled, lost, and it knocks you off your feet. And that's exactly what happened to me. That's how I know. It's how I know that we miss these markers as we go through life. When our soul gets buried, we don't listen to that guiding light that pulls us through those challenges, feeling nourished, feeling energetic, feeling that life has a purpose. So as I say, when I was born, I was very ill as a baby, but I had a lovely childhood. I had two loving parents, a loving family. But I do believe when I was ill as a baby, it's when I first met the Lord. It's when he spoke to me, when he held me, when he guided me through all of these near death experiences, when the doctors told my parents, no, she's not going to make it. I think that they were told that 3 or 4 times that this was the end over a period of years. But I'm still here. I'm 52 next month, and I do believe that that's where I first connected with the Holy Spirit. I took myself off to Sunday school when I was about 10. As I say, my family weren't practicing Christians. And then when my first marriage broke down, I again found my faith, and I had read the Bible as a child, but I started to go to church. And again, I dipped in and out of that. Life just took over. My marriage failed. I went through bankruptcy. My second marriage failed. And each time I knew there was something holding me. I knew there was something guiding me, but I didn't know what it was. There was a piece missing. And it was only when I lost my mum in 2016 that I was completely knocked off my feet. I had nothing left. So each time, through the betrayal of the marriage, through the bankruptcy, through the other breakdown of my second marriage, I hadn't reconnected with my soul. So I just dusted myself up, got back on with it, and people said, oh, you're so strong. And so outwardly I was, but my soul was just buried. There was nothing for me to be able to fight the feeling of just being completely lost when I lost my mum. And I went into a very, very dark place. I was had anxiety and depression, and literally became a hermit. I resigned from my job as a head teacher of the pre-prep, and I didn't go out. My dad had had a heart attack, so he was living with us, and literally I had the thoughts of, it would be easier if I'm not here. I just need this feeling to stop. And then there was a voice, a tiny voice, but it grew louder and louder. And I believe that was my soul. It was the inner divine. It was the Holy Spirit talking to me. And he was saying, I've got you. You can do this. Come to me and I will show you how to rise up again, fulfill your purpose, and live the life of joy you're meant to live. And that's really the journey I've been on since 2017. My faith has grown. I talk to God daily. I go to church before lockdown, so it's now online. But absolutely, I listen to that inner guidance. Now, I believe that God talks to us in whatever language we need to hear it. So, you know, I have lots of friends who will talk about the source and about angels and about the universe and law of attraction. And I actually believe that they're all part of the same thing, that they are the Spirit of God talking to us in whichever way we need. And when we listen to that, when we're connected to our soul, we're able to find our path to what it is we need to be doing. We don't have to be fearing guilt and shame and worry of our own decisions. We have a guiding compass to help us make those choices and follow the path that we need to be following. So the step was I reconnected, I reawoke, I think, is how I say it. My soul was reawakened. And then through that, I was able to really reconnect with my faith and my spirituality, which led me to living a life of rejoicing, you know. And so now I help women to do that. I take them back to their inner essence so they can connect with their inner essence, their inner divine. You know, they can hear their Holy Spirit talking to them. And then when you do that, the freedom and the joy that you get is undescribable. You know, challenges come, but you have the grace to walk through them. You know that you are held, you know that you are loved, you know that you are enough. And so that's really what I wanted to say to you today, is that you have to nourish yourself, and to be able to do that, you have to be connected to your inner essence. And if you go inward, you know, find out who you are, what it is that brings you joy, what it is that feeds your soul. When you do that, you're able to step into that life of soul-centered joy, soul-centered love, peace, and fulfillment. So thank you for listening to my story. I am excited about the next part of my journey. I do feel that God has given me the purpose of setting up a non-profit foundation. So that's the next thing that I am on my journey, and I'm doing that now. So that's very scary, but it's been wonderful to share that with you today. And thank you. Back to you, Donna.